Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Friday 15s. So, if you haven't been with us before, what is a Friday 15? Well, every Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time, we go ahead, we take 15, sometimes 20 minutes to answer your questions about the travel industry that you've submitted on our website. If you have questions that you want to submit, or if you want to go watch past episodes, go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. We also, as you all know, bring on many special guests. So it's a really fun way to end the week. And I think many of you know our next co hosts, but if you don't, you will get to know them over the next 15 to 20 minutes. I am really, really excited to welcome Robin and Jennifer from TiqueHQ to join us this week to answer some amazing questions. Hi.
Hi.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you for
so much.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. This is our first time caller experience, so we are so excited to be here.
Oh, we love it. We love it. We kind of have our regulars and then we have new to the Friday 15 and we love both. So this is really such a treat for us. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Amazing. You ready for question number 1?
Bring it.
All right. So we have a question here from Matthew saying, I'm just starting out, but I had a question about credit card reward points. If you have a client who has points for flights or hotels with a particular credit card, am I able to book travel for them using their points or a combination of points and money and still receive commission?
All right. Well, this is such a good question. And the answer is most likely no. Advisors typically aren't going to make commissions off of any bookings that are made with credit card reward points. My bigger concern outside of the commissionable aspect actually is the risk that you're opening yourself up for. So, to be able to use those points, you're typically going to have to go into someone's account. You're going to have to apply those points, and that is currency. Those are actually considered like taxable income aspects. So, you don't really want to enter someone's bank account and take their money and apply it to something without the proper terms and conditions in place. Now, with that being said, could you have the proper terms and conditions in place? Potentially. However, in your traditional client agreement, that's probably not going to be covered. It's not something that you've accounted for in your business model. And you don't want to do anything outside of that scope that you've defined and that client has agreed to allow for you to do on their behalf. So I'll just share that because that's a little bit of insight that I think is actually more imperative than the commissionable piece. What you can do, however, is on your inquiry form. Robin and I are huge advocates for making sure that you are getting the most information from your client on the inquiry form so that you can respond back and know if that client is the right fit for you and your business. You can actually add a question on that inquiry form that says, do you plan on utilizing any points for your travel? If so, what kind of travel are you looking to book with those points? And you could have a checkbox. It could say airfare, it could say hotel accommodations, it could say rental car, etc. If they were to check anything outside of airfare, I would typically respond back and say, hey, thank you so much. I'm not able to do this for you. However, what I could do is I could handle the land accommodations, the tours and experiences, all the logistics, and you could actually utilize those points for airfare. Usually the conversion is the best anyway for airfare, and you're not going to be making much commission on airfare anyway. So get that off of your plate. If they want to use points, then have them utilize it towards the airfare piece so that you can create a seamless experience on land. Now, if they respond back and they say, no, I actually want to use it for the accommodations and I want to use it for the land piece, then something that you could consider, just a different way of thinking about it, is you could actually say, great, I would love to provide a consultation for you. Here is a fee for me to get a full rundown. I'll meet with you for an hour and I'll come back with recommendations of hotels and experiences that you can book through those points. And that's kind of what we call a pick my brain session. And this is something that we've recommended for people that they're getting a lot of friends and family coming to them through their DMs, through their Instagram asking at parties, hey, I'm going somewhere. Can I pick your brain about something? And the best way to respond to that is, yes, actually, I have a dedicated session set up for that. It's XYZ amount per hour. And at the end of that, I'm going to give you a recap call where you walk away with applicable things to your specific trip. And that way, you're not giving your value away for free. You've worked very hard to create that knowledge, or you're going to do a lot of research on your end, and you should adequately be compensated for that. So that's kind of a full scope answer to that, Matthew. But anything to add to that, Robin?
It's also a great way after that Pick My Brain. You could send them commissionable links for tours and stuff to set up on their own and earn some commission on the back end as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean like, oh, the money is lost. You can get something out of that because you deserve to get something out of the picking your brain sessions for sure.
Yeah, something like a Project Expedition or a Viator where they have the white labeled affiliate links. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, Matthew, I mean, you covered every angle. So I thank you. Like, I'm like looking at my notes and I'm like, okay, yep, she said that and that, and that. And I'm good. I don't need to say anything. This is great. Matthew, you make next to nothing on flights in terms of commission. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I would be highly, highly clear though about the fact that if they're not booking that with you, you are not responsible for that segment of their trip in terms of, delays. If something happens, that is something that they are going to be responsible for. And I think you need to be very, very clear about that. I totally agree with the fees. We have a whole section. We're actually launching our annual report in a few weeks. Matthew, take a look out for that. There's a whole section about charging fees in there. And from last year's report, 20% of a travel advisor's income actually came from fees. And that's significant. That's not a tiny portion of your income. And I love the idea of the Pick My Brain fee. I've never thought of that before. And I think that that's a beautiful way to kind of put that out there to say, you can talk to me about the hotels that you're looking at that you can cover with your points, right? And I'm happy to give you my insights, right? And this is the fee that I charge for that kind of Pick My Brain. I love that. I think that's a fantastic idea.
And it should be based off of your value per hour. So we're not talking about $50. It should be something that really adequately compensates you for the lack of commission you're earning as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking typically you're going to do research for this. You're going to prepare for it. You're going to send a follow-up call. You're also going to spend an hour of your time. This really should be multiple hundreds of dollars. If you ask me, this should be 150 plus. So that you're adequately compensated for that.
And it's not uncommon for service providers to have these type of things. Our lawyers have stuff like this. I can do a pick my brain kind of session with my financial planner. Like, it's very common. So there shouldn't really be any of that. Like, I don't feel confident putting that in front of somebody because I think people are used to seeing stuff like this from service providers these days.
Absolutely. And know your worth as well, right? And know that it's worth that time and don't. Yeah. And I'll actually link, we have a great long form article about your guide to charging fees. So different types of fees you can charge, how you can charge them. So we'll link that for Matthew and for everybody else listening so that you can jump in and understand fees and kind of get a feel for that. Are we ready for question number 2?
We're ready.
All right. So this is from Laura, who's just starting out in the industry, about 3 months in, working on setting the foundation of her business, completing trainings, learning about suppliers, listening to podcasts, creating a logo on social media, all the things that come with starting your business. I was even able to complete my first booking for some of my family. With that said, I'm worried because I feel like I don't have more of a legitimate business. It's going to be difficult to complete bookings with any of the leads that I get. What do you suggest I do to help build my business and get potential clients to trust me as their travel advisor when I'm so new?
Okay, Laura, first of all, congratulations. Super exciting time. I feel like when you launch a business, it's like all the things are happening, and so many new advisors, especially, they'll jump straight to the marketing piece and the finding leads because that's exciting and it feels productive to see those people circulate into your CRM. But the truth is, and Jen and I have talked about this on past podcast episodes as well, you need systems first. If I could go back in time to that moment when I launched my travel business, before I focused on generating too many leads, I would have focused more on setting that really solid framework of systems and contracts. So legitimizing your business and protecting your business with contracts that are rock steady. And then getting those workflows and automation set up and those clear communication touch points. So those email templates and the forms and everything like that. Because ultimately that structure builds confidence for both you and your client, right? Like when somebody submits an inquiry form, we're used to getting that automated touch point that says, hey, we've gotten your form, it's in our inbox, you'll receive a notice or a response within 24 to 48 to 72 hours, whatever that looks like for you. So all of these things, people are used to signing contracts, they're used to receiving those automations and those touch points. And that's what I would 100% focus my time and effort in, especially while maybe your volume's a little bit low. I know that Host Agency Reviews also emphasizes this with their 7-day setup, and you need those foundations first. We're currently relaunching and remastering our travel business launch lab as well, which walks you through like the solid foundation to grow a travel business from the ground up. And it's the very first thing I think, and it's not sexy, it's not fun necessarily to write a bunch of emails and build a bunch of forms, but it's so important because we've heard from so many advisors time after time, the ball starts rolling downhill and you are inundated with not only new trips, but trips that are traveling, that are coming up, that it's hard to go back and get those contracts in place, get those signatures documented and verified and those emails written and stuff. So we can include, I guess, send you guys a URL, but we do have a freebie. It's the launch checklist. I don't know if we can drop it in the show notes, but we'll definitely share it with you. And it's everything like the ultimate checklist that we would do if we were launching our travel business from the ground up all over again. And you'll see a lot of system touch points. So, yeah.
Personally, I think automations are sexy. So that might just be me, but if you talk to anybody on the Host Agency Reviews team, they will qualify that comment. When we started, one of the things I did when I first started here was I brought in a CRM for our business, and I have multitude of automations. When this happens, that happens because we use different platforms for different things. So once this happens here, it automatically generates something over here. And my team knows how excited that all makes me. I like everything being connected so that it's just more efficient and effective. And Robin, I think that is such like a beautiful way to look at this is step back for a second, right? You've got friends, family that are going to want you to help them book their travel, and they're going to refer people to you as well. I know I refer people all the time to my travel advisor, but set things up so that when that boulder starts rolling down the hill, things are flowing, and you may have to adjust things from time to time. That does happen. But if you have the basic and the base of what you need, at least you can build off of that. So I love that advice. I think that's great. I also found the link as you were speaking to what you were talking about. So we will absolutely include that in the comments that you can access that. Thank you so much. I think that's such a nice thing. I love when there's a few little complimentary things that we can offer our listeners. So thank you for that.
Of course.
All right. Final question. So this is from Anonymous. I'm another new advisor, and the host agency, their booking platform that this new advisor is using, they're finding really complicated. Mm-hmm. I'm still trying to make it through the training, thinking about switching to another host. Are booking platforms so complicated in general? How can you find out?
Well, are you ready for me to go for it?
Oh, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a lot of thoughts as we were thinking through this one.
Yes.
So I want to first say that I don't want to confuse booking platform versus CRM in this scenario. So let's talk first foundationally about technology. And a lot of people are thinking that their email marketing is the same as a CRM and their CRM is the same as a booking platform. And these things are all independent platforms. And Shayna, you were just talking about how reliant an entire business is on an ecosystem of platforms, you are naturally going to have multiple platforms. They are not all going to be able to address everything. That's just a fact of the matter. Now, for the sake of this question, I don't want to overstep. I want to say that you are not required to use your host agency's booking platform. If we're talking about something like a GDS, a Sabre, or Apollo, something that might be cumbersome to use. You're right. It's absolutely not intuitive. It's like a DOS system, and it can be very confusing. If you're talking about a CRM, that's a different situation. You absolutely do need to log your bookings accurately so that your host agency can pay you. So we're talking about two different things here. For the sake of this question, I'm going to specifically address the booking platform because I think that's where we're going with this. So with that being said, you as an independent contractor are able to do business with any vendor that you would like to do so. So many hosts are simply creating these booking platforms for ease and convenience for you. However, if it is not easy and if it is not convenient for you, it's completely fine to find an alternate solution that better supports your workflow. That could be a wholesaler like Classic Vacations or Europe Express or Pleasant Vacations or Pleasant Holidays, where you can actually create your booking online on your own and you can submit the payment. You can make the client booking. Boom, it's a reservation and you walk away with an actual reservation number. That is a booking platform. If you want to work with someone to create a more manual, curated experience, you can work with an in-destination management company like that we refer to as a DMC. This is going to be someone who ultimately lives in that destination. The reason we love DMCs is because they're able to usually source backups in emergencies, and they're going to be on the ground, feet on the ground, able to actually source solutions should anything with your client's trip go sideways. They're going to have the most immediate response. Whereas a wholesaler, they might have a 24/7 phone line, but support is the name of the game for our perspective. And then there's alternate options like a third-party tour company, Viator, Project Expedition that we mentioned, that you can actually, it's an e-commerce website that you can purchase a tour and boom, again, you also have a reservation. There's also flight consolidators that you can go to, and they provide 24/7 service, and they are the ones using the GDS. They know the codes, they know the whole language on the DOS system to be able to create a booking and service that booking with ease. To me, if you're not able to handle a booking with ease, if you're not able to manage it, then you're not going to be able to manage it well. And when you are taking your client's money, whether it be a planning fee or the deposit, I think that the promise that you're making to that client in exchange for that money exchange is that you are going to give them the best possible experience that you have at your disposal. And we have so much at our disposal in this industry that it's absolutely incredible. Here's the thing. You want to make sure that you are going to get those suppliers that you choose to work with registered with your host agency. So if you're not using that platform, you need to make sure that those companies do have a way of paying you. So if they're not in that booking platform, if they're not already set up with your host agency, one, you want to double check with your host that they're not for some reason off of the list because there was a bad experience in the past and they have been on a do not sell list. You also want to make sure that they ideally are with your preferred network, whether you're in a consortium or you're in a preferred relationship with a supplier. And then you're going to want to make sure, obviously, that they're connected with your host agency so that the host can receive that payment and process it to you. You do have flexibility as an independent contractor because it's your business, but you need to make sure you're paid. So you got to make sure that these things are all in check. So I want to go back to that 24/7 support because at the end of the day, you are the one that has to service the booking. And if you are independently making that booking, say if I'm making a flight booking on a GDS and I don't know how to change something when something is canceled in the system, I don't think that I'm doing right by the client because I'm not the best equipped to handle that investment on their end. So you are the ones at the end of the day that are responsible for the liability of that booking. And there's a reason that these additional resources and partners and suppliers exist to make you look like a rock star. I believe that the travel advisor is the liaison. It's the face, it's the sales arm. And then the actual like back end supply chain are those amazing providers and suppliers that you have relationships with that your host, I guarantee, has an entire list that you can work from. So anything to add from that? That was a real brain dump.
No, we love a good brain dump because there's people who would ask this question or something similar. So you get to kind of pick what works for them or what they were looking for within that answer. So I love it. I would even say to Anonymous who submitted this, if you find the booking platform complicated, before you get to the point of like, okay, because one thing that my host uses is complicated for me, I would speak to your host directly. I think a lot of times we think to jump the gun, and we've had questions like this in the past where it's, okay, now I'm going to switch hosts. Well, have you spoken to your host about it? Right? Have you said, hey, I'm having a really difficult time? Because that host could come back to you and say, thank you for that feedback. Right now we're going to look at XYZ. Sorry, Zed, I'm Canadian. Or you know what, have you seen the training for the platform? Like we have like a whole library of trainings for specific parts of whichever platform, or the integration of a few different platforms, whatever that ecosystem is that we're using. And that you may not have even known existed, right? You may not have even known it was there. I always say, give your host kind of the benefit of the doubt in that regard, and have that conversation with them first. Because switching hosts, while you absolutely can do that, it's not as easy as said and done. There are contracts, there are agreements. And so there's a lot that goes into deciding to switch to another host. If switching is the right thing for you, absolutely. We always say you've got to do what's best for you and your business. And I think, Jennifer, for me, you touched on a great point. You are an independent contractor at the end of the day. So the tools that you use, you don't need to use what your host is recommending. It's essentially a recommendation of what you can use, but they are recommending it for a reason. So they've done their homework as well. Because there's all this new technology, which we're going to link our travel agency software directories, you can kind of get lost in the excitement of all of it, and you don't need all of it. You don't need to use everything. No. So, definitely take a look. I'm also going to link from Demo Day from last week or 2 weeks ago when we had our Hardwired event. We had a demo day where we demoed with 14 different platforms. So you can kind of get an idea of what is out there. And also exactly what you said, to remember there's a difference between a CRM, a booking platform, itinerary management platform, a legal document one. Like there are different ones. So step back for a second. But the first thing I would say is go speak to your host before making any big decisions, because there could be something out there to help you understand it better. And yes, lots of platforms are not intuitive, especially if you're new to advising, right? And you're new to this industry, and that's okay. Yeah. It is absolutely okay that it is not intuitive for you right now. In 2 years, you might be laughing, thinking to yourself, how was that not intuitive to me 2 years ago, right? Because you're in a new industry. So that's okay.
And technology is not necessarily the end all be all of a host. If you love every other aspect of your host,
absolutely,
then there are workarounds to this. And absolutely. I know plenty of advisors that actually their host does provide them with a CRM, and they have a duplicate CRM because they feel like it's more intuitive and they just do their invoicing on that end. But they have a great community. They have a great intranet. They have amazing access to FAMs and trade shows, and they have access to their leadership with mentorship. So if you're loving other things about your host, the technology is a piece of the puzzle. And really, just like technology, there's not ever going to be a host that is perfect all the time. You just have to prioritize what is important to you. And Shayna, we also do have a tech stack checklist that I'm happy to share with you guys if anyone wants that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. I am going to share now the most important link that we're going to share, which is directly to TiqueHQ's website. So please go check them out. We're going to share that for you in the comments. So go check them out, reach out directly if you have questions, if there's anything you would like to do with the team. And thank you so much for being here. I am really excited. We've got a whole lineup per usual coming up on November 7th to open up the month of November. We have Uniglobe Travel Center joining us. November 14th, Dugan's Travels will join us. And November 21st, we're going to have Travel Industry Solutions coming back. So really excited. Please go submit your questions at hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. We love them. Keep them coming. And Robin, Jennifer, thank you so much. We are absolutely going to have you back. So you shouldn't have answered the questions so well.
It would be an honor.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Happy Halloween for anyone who celebrates. And we'll see you back here next Friday. Bye, everybody.